Hey guys, welcome back. Tonight we're talking watches you take on vacation. Hey, we're back. Thursday. Today's Thursday, right?
Today is Thursday.
Today's Thursday. Trading Desk. My good friend and semi-regular co-guest.
Third time now.
Mike
I'm getting
Manjos.
excited.
Yeah. So I've signed him to an exclusive contract, and this is his third appearance on the record. So today we're going to have a pretty cool topic, something that came from a couple customers of ours. Seems like right now is the time.
It is the time of year.
You're getting ready to set off.
Getting ready to
So
head out.
Vacation watches, kind of a cool topic. So there's cool theories here. We're going to go over some different options and what kind of makes stuff vacation watches, what you want to look for. But I'm going to roll right into wrist shots, which is customary here right off the intro. And I have been wearing this for the last couple days. This is my Evo 3 Night Mission. Probably the most versatile Breitling ever made, I would argue. Titanium case, super comfortable, all kinds of complications, including a minute repeater. And all you have alarm, chronograph, countdown timer, GMT, 2 time zones.
Super practical watch. I used to
Sapphire.
have a B1 that I used to travel with all the time.
Fantastic.
Great
43 millimeter case, but in titanium, wears very well, and just super versatile. I did some work on the car this weekend, so this was, oil change, all that stuff. I was wearing this. Don't have to worry about it. And so, yeah, it's been on the wrist for about a week.
Awesome.
What are you wearing?
I'm wearing the Deep Sea Dweller James Cameron. This one is actually the 126. So the newer version, there's a slight less taper to the bracelet. A lot of guys complained on the earlier version that it was not only big, but the balance wasn't great because the bracelet was fairly narrow and tapered down.
Right.
So this one is better balanced, I think. Love the dial.
So
this is definitely one of my favorite watches to take anywhere. Love the adjustment. The best part, adjust it on the wrist, just slides in, slides out, done. And especially summertime when your wrist is up and down, really easy to work. And I like big watches, so this is always a favorite.
Yeah, it's a cool piece. I like the refinements from the first gen. If you have one of those already, I don't know that the upgrade makes sense because that watch is still great.
Right.
But
There's
if you
not
don't
that
have
much
one
difference.
and you want to get one, then the
new
newer
one's
one's
perfect,
perfect. Yeah. I do like the fact that you don't have to take that off your wrist to adjust it. Although part of me, I still think the Submariner one's the better
The Submariner
adjustment.
is the easier one to use, and it's super fine. But this one, there is something about just keeping it on your
cool.
wrist all the time. Don't drop it in the water. Taking it
go.
off. There you go.
All right, fantastic. So wrist shots. That watch is a little bit more expensive than the Breitling,
But I love the Breitlings. Again, the Breitling
versatile.
complications. I had a B1 that I wore for years whenever I would travel for different time zones, alarms.
it's a fun watch,
Yeah.
and it for what it punches above its weight class.
I would agree.
It wears well. People notice it. I mean, it's versatile as all hell. So I like it.
And I also
quite a
like the
bit.
clamp on the rubber strap. A lot of rubber straps just have the tang and
And it's a titanium buckle, so
Right. So
the
it
watch
sits super
weighs well,
comfortably.
yeah. All right. Remember top 5?
top 5.
Kind of like a
I love top 5.
quick spin here.
Exactly. I always love being surprised by top 5. So let's see what we got today. Interesting top 5.
Okay. I know exactly why that 5524 is on there, because we have a paddock sale going on right now.
Correct.
And every single day somebody has called me about this 5524.
Well, again, super popular when it came out, really hard to get. Then they produced a number of them. Then they came out with some other watches afterwards. So there was a few of them on the market, and I think they've softened up a little bit. And again, at the price point now it's trading at, it's become super popular again.
Yeah, and I think we had 2 of them, and both of them were marked down. I think this one at $44,950 is the one that has full box papers. The other one was a little bit cheaper. Didn't have papers, I don't believe. But anyhow, that watch seems to have turned back on. People are interested in it.
Now, what is your feeling on the watch, honestly?
Honestly,
'Cause
for
I have
me,
opinions, but-
yeah. I mean, I have opinions. I never quite understood the watch from launch. I applaud the attempt to try and do something outside the box.
Right.
It just, for me, kind of felt a little bit like them chasing other brands.
That was exactly my feeling. I mean, it just felt like it was a little forced. And again, if you were doing a pilot's watch, which is cool, why wouldn't it have been steel, not white gold in the first version?
I do really, really like the new weekly calendar piece, the steel weekly calendar.
I know the steel
And
weekly
that
calendar.
also kind of feels like them chasing another brand.
Right.
But I think they pulled that piece off better than that piece.
Again, I think the size on that's going to be great. I like the color of the dial's great. The handwriting, I think that one's going to work well.
But anyhow, so number 4.
5205G. I love, my favorite part of this whole watch is the lugs.
Yeah.
If you take a profile view of this watch, it looks just like an airplane wing. Cutout lug, spring bar goes in the middle. It's got a huge profile. It's got a swoop to that bezel, so it wears bigger. One of my complaints with Pateks always is sometimes they feel a little small on, especially when you're wearing a beast like this.
Yeah.
That one wears really well at 40 millimeters and wears heavier. I always love apertures, annual calendars. My
Annual
favorite
calendars
complication.
are super cool.
Yeah.
I've always kind of loved this dial layout. I think it reads to the eye really well, and it has a good. It's a versatile watch for what it is. It reads well. It's easy to see in low light situations as well, but it's still dressy.
Yeah. No, it's still nice Patek,
Yeah.
but it's to me it's the right size and feels like a nice watch on the wrist. So that one doesn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah. So number 3 is the 43 millimeter red dweller, right? Pretty popular watch.
Super
was
popular watch.
from drop when it came out. Skyrocketed, like most Rolexes, like what we're seeing with some of the Batgirl right now, is they were super fire, came out, dropped a little bit. Now they're back up a little bit. This watch is pretty cool. So unlike the 44 that you're wearing, I actually the 43 I think is a better size.
It's a
little
much
bit
better
more manageable.
balance. There's no question about it. I like the touch of red. I love sea dwellers. I like the no size. I like everything about the watch.
To me, this was the right way to rectify the 44 millimeter. I don't necessarily see the need for the 1.2 44.
Right.
When this watch ticks all the boxes, but I like the red dweller. I would have preferred a newer generation 40 millimeter.
I don't know why they got rid of the 40. Yeah.
I love it. Those watches are awesome. They're way up now.
Crazy how hard those have become.
11600.
Yeah, and that was a tough watch to sell when it was new because it was 10.4 as opposed to 85 for a sub.
I mean, I made decisions on not buying that watch when I was getting my non-date. It was either that or the non-date. And do I want to spend $2 more to get that watch? It's a little thicker. I think the non-date's a little more traditional, but now they're $14,000 watches. It's crazy.
Exactly.
All right, Omega Speedmaster.
You understand why this one's so hot because we just passed the anniversary.
Yeah, all Speedmasters are moving pretty well. We went over Speedmasters in detail in the last couple episodes. Tremendous bang for the buck.
It's a lot of watch for the show. I mean, I grew up with these watches. My dad was an Omega dealer back in the 70s when these things were new and, NASA was going in and buying them at retail. They're just great workhorse watches. I think for that kind of money, nothing better on a chrono.
Yeah, it's a cool piece. Manual wine. Number 1.
That is an interesting number 1.
That's a lot of gold.
That is a lot of bling. They're very cool. Again, I remember when these watches were new, but it's a lot of diamond lugs, diamond bezel. I do love the Myriad Roman. It's a very cool dial with the diamonds in between the rows, and rare as could be.
Right.
But I'm shocked it got that much attention.
It's a cool piece. I could see. So we don't do a lot of what a lot of people don't understand is. So we do pre-owned pieces, but we're obviously we do the new side as well. So that actually pushes us away from doing modified stuff.
Right.
We don't list aftermarket stuff on the website. We don't deal in the watches. So when we do have something with full diamonds on it, it gets attention.
Right, because there's rarer than most. Yeah,
they're not used to being seen on our website. So. It's a cool piece. I can see why people are clicking on it. It's I don't think a piece either of us are going to wear anytime soon.
Not wearing it anytime soon.
But so it's not a bad top 5 there.
It's a really good top 5.
Look at the Speedmaster punching way above its weight class here. You got 2 Pateks and 2 Rolexes on there,
right?
And the Speedmaster. So look at that.
Very
the little engine that could at $4,000.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, so that's top 5. Hopefully that was enjoyable. Cut right to we don't have a this or that this week. We thought this was a pretty cool topic, so we're gonna spend some time. And then just to my computer's at about 20% right now. I got about 10 minutes.
Saving it.
I got about 10 minutes of scheduled time for Q&A later. So yeah, I'm saving the battery power for you guys. So please don't be offended if I didn't call out your names in the chat. You guys are gonna be in the chat box. talking all kinds of crap to each other, whether or not I'm watching
When
it
they're
or not.
not.
So
Exactly.
I'm
But it's
assuming
fun
you're
to
in
watch.
there having a great time. If not, there might be one person viewing the show right now. I don't know. But all right. So we laid it out earlier, right? Vacation watches.
Vacation watches. I'm heading out on Saturday, and
You've got an epic vacation
I've
planned.
got a great vacation planned. Can't wait, the whole family. And I'm always one who has to bring multiple watches on vacation. It's just my
We're going to be giving you the GPS coordinates to Michael Manjos' vacation spot on the end of the show, so you can go visit him on vacation. Yeah. So when we first launched this topic, I understand. So this is a watch roll for those of you that don't know what this is. I'm assuming if you're watching this, you know what a watch roll is. But there are essentially two types of guys that take watches on vacation, and I'm not the watch roll guy, and Manjos is very much the watch roll guy.
Very much the watch roll guy.
So,
I will have one just like that in my backpack when I leave on Saturday.
The yin and yang of this conversation started right away, and I was like, this is what I would take of what I own. It fits every single thing I could possibly think of that I would need. Right, my cell phone dies. I need to know when. I need to set an alarm. It's the Swiss Army watch. It's going to fill everything I need to do. I don't have to worry about it. It's water resistant. I can beat on it. If I lose it, I don't care. And Manjos is like, well, I'm going to need a 4-watch roll because I got to take my dinner watch that matches my fedora and my board shorts, and I got to take. So why don't you? We'll start with your kind of theory here.
Well, I mean, I never go anywhere without a Rolex, just because, again, it is my Swiss Army tool. Usually it's my Batman, but the deep sea, especially if I'm going in the ocean, I love this thing.
Sure.
There's something about, I'm a very serious vacation person. We go every year for a big family vacation. It's my one time to try to relax and lay it, just lazy.
Right.
But I love watches, so it makes me happy on vacation to change a watch when I'm going to a different place or doing something different. It's part of the thing. I can see wearing one, but I like changing them up, and it's kind of like I'll be sitting on the beach going, it's pretty cool sitting around. So I always wear one of my Rolexes. I also have a Panerai on a rubber strap.
Okay.
It's a great thing to wear fishing, out in the boat. You're banging it around, same kind of thing.
That's the workhorse.
It's the workhorse. It's comfortable. It's my lightest watch. I don't usually do a lot of light watches, but that's the rubber watch thing. This particular one I love, just because it's 1,000 meters.
Right.
It's got a super thick crystal, which gives you that cool
64.
optical. It's got the great luminous on it, so it glows like crazy at night. It's a beast. It's beefy, but again, on the rubber strap, it really wears well. So I love that kind of thing.
Makeshift anchor.
Makeshift anchor, if you can.
There you go.
Yeah, that's your Swiss Army.
Yeah, so PAM 64, super cool watch, submersible, like you said, 1,000 meter. This is, you could do some damage in this thing. This could actually be something I would just wear this watch, like one watch. I think the one watch thing for me comes with how, I also don't switch my watch every day. I like to wear my watches 1 week at a time.
Right.
So I'm not the guy that's like, what should I wear today? And think about it for 20 minutes. That's fine. A lot of people are. But I'm not switching it every single day. And I actually find comfort in wearing the watch for a prolonged amount of time and enjoying it even more so, I think. It's like if you have a good pair of shoes that fit really well because you've worn them in, or you have 50 pairs of shoes that look brand new because you only wear them once every. So, right. I don't know. I think that the cool thing for us when you go on vacation and you get to kind of unplug a little bit is you get to enjoy this people that aren't what we do. Correct. Enjoy the product.
More often when I'm at work and every day, I wear the same watch all the time.
Right.
But when I tend to change more watches when I travel.
When you're running around, you're going, I got to do this. I got to do this.
Exactly. It's a work thing. When I'm on vacation, it's like I'm slowing down and I'm thinking about changing a watch. The Tudor's another one that I have it just like this.
You actually own, yeah. So
I
you
own this exact watch in this configuration.
Mike Michaels owns this watch too.
Yep.
Same watch.
It's a Heritage Chrono. Again, a remake of what they did back in the 70s. Love the colors, love the blue, love the chronograph. I think it's a bargain price too. I mean, it's a watch. It's a $4,000 piece. I actually have a belt that matches it that my kids make ultimate fun of me on when I wear it.
I have seen this belt. I did see him wear this belt. And
granted, it's a little much, but I actually like it, and I will do it on vacation just to annoy my children because that's my job. But again, super comfortable to wear. I like chronographs in general. Again, I think I like Tudors.
It's definitely a value play. I mean, it's a super cool chronograph with some vintage appeal. You see the subdials. So yeah, this is the reissue of what we call the Monte Carlo.
Right. It comes in different color combinations. The blue and orange is my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. If that doesn't scream like retro chrono,
yeah,
right?
It's cool.
But you get all the modern movement. You get some advantages to it's actually water resistant.
Right.
Which is nice. And then Tudor does a great job with these. They're like hand woven on old
they're
world.
Unbelievable. I don't know if you've seen the videos, but they have this one factory that they basically took over in Italy that makes them.
Old world looms, right?
Yeah.
Whenever I see that video, I always think of that movie Wanted, where he reaches into the. But so like Tudor does these buckles that's the Tudor crest, and they've always
a lot of detail
do some really cool stuff for not a lot of money. Is the belt? Your belt's not made by these people.
It is a Tudor belt. Yes. It was a present.
Fancy.
Yes.
All right. Did the belt come before the watch? Or
No, it came after the watch. I actually had the watch, and then the belt came as a Basel present a few years back.
There you go. All right. So this is like I'm flying the plane to my vacation spot, and
there was a couple places I've been that I might have wanted to have that. We were about 10 miles from the border of Guatemala 2 years ago. That was like in the jungle that maybe I should have this watch.
This is the reason I like. So the orange is cool. The reason I kind of like this watch is this was an expensive watch when it came out. Right, the Emergency was a professional tool, and this is the titanium.
Correct. It was not.
So this was not something you played around with unless you knew what you were doing.
When you first came out, you actually had to be a licensed pilot,
right? And
you had to sign and file with the FAA. Very serious thing, and then it got kind of mainstreamed afterwards.
Right. So it's cool in the ridiculous way now that it was a serious piece of equipment then that is almost has no function. I mean,
it's basically a bar watch at this point.
I mean, aside from what my watch, the Anti-Digi and having some functionality, this guy right here, for those of you that are watching or listening, don't know, is an antenna that you pull out in an emergency situation.
And it comes out like 3 feet, and you're supposed to tie it to a tree. And,
it throws out a beacon, which can be tracked and locate your position.
Marines will come get you.
This runs on a different frequency than what the newer ones do.
Correct.
But
maybe in the country I'm going to still uses that old frequency.
Almost obsolete, but super cool, all titanium, kind of fun, funky watch for not a tremendous amount of money.
And it's a great orange.
And I would argue that older Breitlings are better Breitlings.
Yeah, the new one, I mean, what they did to the new one, it's 50-something millimeters. I mean, it's unwearable. I love big watches, but, I mean, it's a tank, and it's $15,000.
Yeah.
So the new one's got a little crazy. That one, actually, I still think is nice. I also love the yellow back in the day.
Yeah, the orange is cool. It's like an off orange, which I like. All right, this is by far my favorite watch on the table.
That is a beautiful piece. It actually looked great on you.
Yeah, I was wearing it a little earlier. There you go. Look at that. So this is the new ceramic chrono, and then there's a lot of stuff going on for this watch. I was talking about. I love the round ceramic pushers versus
much
those
square
pushers.
Yeah.
The new straps. And so there's the gray one, there's the black and red, but they're doing these new two-tone straps, new dial, just tremendous amount of detail, and what we're used to seeing in a large package, but actually.
It's scaled down a little bit.
Yeah, it's scaled down. The watch actually sits really well on the wrist. And for a long time, I've thought about, like, I should get a diver. And then I wore this, and I actually wore the gray one about a week and a half ago, and I was like, oh.
It's a great watch. And the new version is much better balanced. It sits really well. I love the touch. I mean, again, for vacation watches, I like color, obviously. I picked a lot of stuff with a touch of color on it. Right. But that one's cool.
I think is appropriate, right? We want to have...
Yeah, it's more casual. It's more fun. Time, exactly.
A little bit whimsical on vacation. This is... I could see this like, I'm going on vacation to Thermal Raceway, and I'm going to go jump in the Lambo and take a couple laps. This is what I'm wearing.
That is very cool.
Look at that. I'll do a little...
No, the AP is amazing stuff. I mean, there's no question. It's iconic. It's much better balanced now. Great movement, see-through. Everything about it.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of complaints on that one.
Yeah, I mean, AP is doing good stuff. We still don't know if their whole vertical integration is going to end up paying off for them.
Mixed messages again.
Market's a little mixed up on that right now, but we are seeing them deliver product. I'm seeing guys get 15500s, which is more than I can say for some brands.
Mm-hmm.
There are quite a few guys that I heard were on the list for 15400s and promised they were going to get one. Now they're
Never showed
getting
up.
delivered 15500s and being told they have to take it and that's it. Which
That
is
happens.
a little, but I guess you would grow to love it or move it on.
Right.
But a lot of what AP's doing now, I'm pretty impressed with. So we'll just see if they actually sell. But yeah, those are the watches that we brought with us.
This was the last one we didn't talk about yet, right?
Was that the 177?
Yeah, this is actually the 777. So this is the
newer one.
Newer version. And again, neither one of ours favorites, but the reason I loved it is I love the strap. And one of the things that I always tell a lot of my
you got a pair
guys
of pants
is,
in that material, don't you?
I probably do, yes. It's really cool, blue, fun, matches the little blue logo. But what I do notice, and I tell guys all the time, even on Pateks and some of the other watches, a different strap can change the entire look of a watch. And it just goes from a different, instead of being a rubber strap Panerai, suddenly this is something I can wear to dinner. And it looks pretty cool.
Yeah. In no way am I endorsing a 777 because I personally,
We have some
there's
issues
better
with it, right.
options for
Right.
that case. But it was on this strap and it caught Manjos' eye. So, but to
I
be
love the strap.
fair, all Panerais have this versatility, right?
Yes, they can. You can put that strap on almost anything.
That's why you love Panerai because you got to be able to change them up. The 77, not that there's anything really wrong with the watch, it's just a very economic option.
Right.
It's got the spring bars instead of
Which
the
I
actual
hate, yeah.
screws. It's just it's reminiscent of the old 600 series with the snapped case backs and all that stuff.
Which I
it's better
hate.
than those.
Better than
but
those, yes.
Still not great.
No.
If you like the look of this watch, then I would highly recommend the watch that I no longer have but owned for a while, the PAM 510. So 44 millimeter, same case, 8-day manual,
right.
or go for a 111, same look, older movement, but still great. Old Panerai that does Panerai doesn't really matter. They all have a similar DNA.
They all have the same feel and look,
kinda
and that's
have
what I
that
like
feel.
about it. Again, I'll bring my 88 on vacation, and I'll wear it in the rubber,
Right.
but it's very cool in the
The
strap.
88's a cool watch.
Always
I
loved
think
the 88.
I think that I was telling you earlier. I've always loved the submersible, and I think I'm going to go ahead and try and track down either a 24 or 25 to replace
You
the
never
510.
see the 25s anymore. I don't know why. But
They're super cool.
Yeah.
And that's been a Panerai on my hit list. in
I
the
tried it
past.
for a while. My problem was I banged that bezel like crazy for whatever reason. It didn't sit as well on my wrist as my 88 does.
Yeah, I like the 88 with the subdial. It's a
Yeah.
cool piece. All right. Well, those are the watches we brought with us. For some, mixed reasons as to why we see them being vacation watches. Some versatility aspects with the emergency, some durability aspects with the Panerais. The APs have the flash. The Tudor
Correct.
has the retro flair. So when Manjos is smoking a cigar walking down the streets of Cuba, he's wearing that watch. And those are the ones that we brought with us. The travel roll. I can see why this would be cool for guys that like you. You definitely
you gotta have a roll.
You gotta have
a
a roll. This one is obviously
A little fancier
a
than
little
mine.
fancier than what most guys would carry, but is 3 watches is pretty much the go-to roll.
Yeah,
I've
I
seen
usually
some,
have 3 in one on my wrist. Yeah, exactly.
I've seen some really cool ones. The ones that I like, I've seen on Instagram. These pillows snap together and then come apart so you can separate them. The divider's cool. But anyway, so the roll's cool if you want to bring a couple watches with you, switch them out like Manjos does. I would prefer to take one watch. I'll leave this on the table and I'll just take
You'll
this.
take that one. That is you.
And,
I tell you should have.
I don't have a vacation plan, but I guess I'll just
get the
leave.
watch
I'll
instead.
just leave now, and we'll call that a vacation.
You can buy a watch for the
I
price
like
of
this.
vacation, but
There you
that's
go,
awesome.
guys.
It suits you. Could be your next one.
It's a good look. I like red.
I do like red.
Yeah, it's a good look.
I also like the gray one though too. The gray one's pretty awesome.
Awesome.
There's not a lot of them that I don't like in the navies.
Yeah, I definitely, you can see the quality step up from these to
the older
to the
versions,
older
yeah.
ones. The ceramic bezel's awesome, ceramic pushers, crown. But
Well, the other
more
problem,
so
the older
than
ones,
that.
you'd scratch the hell out of that bezel.
Right, the rubber
Always.
clads, all that
Rubber
stuff.
clad, I would trash the bezel.
So not only is this good looking for vacation, but going to be more durable than
Right.
something like that. But all right, so that's our vacation stick. I am going to call on the reserve power of this MacBook
Don't let it crash.
and see what's going on. And I have a bunch of emails that I have to answer.
Damn, work gets in the way.
All right. You see any questions in that chat box that you want to shout?
That's not coming up. You go ahead.
Alrighty, here we go. All right, guys, let's fire off some questions in the box. AP is pretty sweet. I agree with you. Make a roll for 10 plus watches.
That's a vacation.
That's a suitcase. That's what that is. I actually find most rolls too big. I like to use pods or pouches. Yeah, so I have a few different ways that I like to carry watches. It's not that I don't. Like, I'll usually take, if I have to transport a watch, I like a pod or a small case, like a small travel case. Usually when you service a watch, they come back in nice
right, they
little,
have some great little cases.
Yeah, so I'll just grab one of those or whatnot. Or actually, we have our own branded, so when you buy a watch from us,
You get that nice case.
Yeah, it's a nice little travel case if it doesn't have a box. So that's pretty cool.
Breitling also does some nice service travel cases that I use. I have a couple of those.
All right, let's see here. See my friend Shelby in the comment box. Shelby is actually on vacation right now, in an undisclosed location, but having a great time apparently. Let's see here, and he will think that this show is based off him going on vacation.
No, this was my. I can take credit for
your
this
idea
because I'm totally in vacation mode the last 2 days.
It was you. All right. Let's see. How am I liking Blue Shirt Buddha? Jason, how are you liking the Bulgari? I love it. It's pretty sweet. It's transitioned more into kind of a. I don't want to say it's a dress watch because it really doesn't fall into that category, but it wears very, very much like a dress watch. What I found myself doing when I take it out of the box is wearing it too much. So I've
You were wearing it a lot.
Yeah, I was wearing so you go through the honeymoon
Always.
phase, right?
Always.
So, but it just like didn't seem to end. I had to make the conscious decision, like, all right, I got to put this away, and because I had gotten the Explorer 2, like
and
just
you waited
before
a long time for that,
and I waited a really long time, and that got interrupted for wearing the honeymoon of that got interrupted with the Bulgari, and so I made the conscious decision to put it away and pull the Explorer out, which is on the nightstand, and it got usurped by that Breitling, but I'll be back to the Explorer soon. I took it off the bracelet and put it on that rubber bee. It actually wears really well.
I've never worn one on a rubber bee. Everybody tells me it works well, but...
But the thing is that when you put them on the rubber bees, they usually, for me, they stay there for like 3-4 days, and then you go back to the bracelet.
I'm the same way, because I think Rolex's best thing is that it's the best bracelet watch out there. So I think of it as a bracelet watch. Yeah. Probably part of my problem.
All right, I got, here's Shelby. I got a question from Shelby. Hi, Jason. FP Journe CB. Wait is 5 to 10 years. How long will they keep making the CB? I don't see it going forever. I agree with you. I think, the whole thing with the CB and why the secondary market is what it is because production.
Correct.
So I think there has to be a time where you go, listen, we're making all these amazing watches. Production on this piece is a pain in the ass. It's been a great run.
Well, they got 2 problems with it. One, the case problem, because the material is hard to work with. And then those dials is just, I know they have a lot of problems with the dials. That's why they always come in batches.
Right.
You'll see them hit the market because they ship out 30 of them. And then it'll be 6 months or a year before the next batch comes out. So I think they will eventually get rid of it because it probably takes a lot of resources away from doing the serious watches.
Right. The CB, I think, is an awesome... It's weird to say about Journe because the FP Journe is an amazing watch, but it's an awesome piece that fights above its weight class in terms of what it is on your wrist. It has such a polarizing presence on the wrist. It's kind of like like a 5196 or something like that, where it's so perfect, but it's simple. When you're used to seeing
simple watch,
you're used to seing Journes that are like centigraphs and or the Lunes or the Reserve de Marche that have some complication look to them.
Right.
I think the CBs are pretty sweet. They're going to go up there.
They're definitely going to shoot up
in the next year. It's probably I would say $50,000 watch.
Wouldn't shock me at all because again, it's so rare. It's so different than anything else. It's a material that nobody dealt with or does.
So they're trading like just over 40 right now.
Yep.
It's
and they go quick. I mean,
insane.
we get one in and it pops.
It's a really, really pretty watch, and it doesn't. Photos don't do it justice. Video doesn't do it justice. When you get it in sunlight to the natural eye,
right, exactly.
It's crazy. All right, so Rich Buddy, as a Rolex guy, I gotta say Jason's Bulgari really pulls me in. I would love to see one of those one day. You owe it to yourself to at least put one on your wrist. I think that everybody I've ever handed the watch to, and they go, this thing, and they put it on their wrist, they start, how much are these? It's definitely a watch you have to experience. Might not end up being for you, but it's super thin, it's easy to wear, it's comfortable, and it's got some real watch credit. All right, let's see here. You seen any
I see a question on
keep my
Rolex
Rolex
GMTs.
116600 or trade up for the SD43 Red Dweller? If I'm you, I keep the 40.
I would keep the 40 as well.
43 is cool. If you could have both, great. But if you gave me a free choice between either one at any market value, I think the 40 is the cooler watch.
Yeah, and I think the 40 will, again, it's rarer. I mean, they didn't make that many of them. They were
2.5 year run.
Right, quick run. They weren't super popular.
And you already have the built-in equity aspect of it that it's discontinued. There's no question about it. It's gone. So if it's, I guess if I had to pick between like one that was naked versus a full set 43, then maybe that would be enough. But I still like the 1166 better, 6600 better. Opinion on the GP Laredo. I like the watch. It looks like some other stuff. That's kind of the flack that it's gotten, but I think it's a good bang for the buck watch.
It's a great bang for the buck
GP,
watch. It's just the brand is
just don't buy it
floundering. Yeah, don't exactly buy them used. They're great value.
Yeah.
And the only other thing on the Sea Dweller, I don't like the Cyclops.
Yeah. That was controversial.
Exactly. It shouldn't have a Cyclops. It's a Sea Dweller.
It was funny. I made a joke.
Shut up.
I made a joke earlier today because when the 43 came out, everybody hated the fact that it had Cyclops. So while the entire world is trying to take Cyclops off of Rolex, Manjos was thinking about putting one on one of his watches.
It's only because I can't see the damn date there without it.
Yeah. So
shut up. You'll get old one day too.
Yeah. Let's hope. Or all right. High Rising. Which Bulgari? The Octo Finissimo. It's the titanium super thin micro rotor. Rich Buddy saying he loves Doxa. Doxa makes a fantastic dive watch.
Great dive watches.
Really robust.
Again.
Whenever somebody asks me about like value dive watches, Doxa is always in the conversation. Oris is a fantastic value
Oris
proposition.
I like Oris a lot.
There's a few other. Zen is also one of those that should be in the conversation, but sub $2,000 beater dive watches, those are definitely cool options. Those are vacation watches too.
Perfect vacation watches again because it's not something you have to worry about either with crazy value and I mean your AP is awesome, but it's a little expensive to be tromping around the rocks on.
All right, John Doe, bang for the buck. Thoughts on Frederic Constant perpetual calendar? Best bang for the buck. I haven't had a tremendous amount of experience with that perpetual calendar. I know that they have for years pushed the bar and like getting really cheap complications out there,
right?
Which I think is commendable. I think they at least a few years ago when they came out with like the cheapest production tourbillon was like $36,000 or something like that. You got to applaud the fact that like I can buy a Swiss-made tourbillon for $36,000.
It is. It also reminds me of like when Jaeger was back in the day. They used to do a perpetual in steel that was 14.4. That nobody else would do one at 30. But just having a price point for a price point, I'm assuming they're cutting some corners somewhere along the way to get there.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I possibly also I'm not the biggest perpetual guy in the world, but.
I'm not a huge perpetual fan. Sometimes when they're done right, they're really, really nice. sometimes they get a little too busy for me.
A lot of them are busy.
If I'm gonna buy it, I'm not a huge. I like no date on my watch.
Well, see, I like the date, but I'm an annual calendar. I mean, to me, that's like the best invention.
For the longest time,
and not that old.
I call out, non-date. So to say I'm a calendar guy, I'm not. But if I was gonna, spend some money and I wanted a complication like that, I think I'd go for an annual before I went for a perpetual. A little bit easier to set, a little bit easier to live with. Definitely could have another couple watches for the difference between most annuals and most perpetuals. So for me, I don't mind if I have to set it a few more times a year.
I understand that. It's also one here on opinions on the new IWC Pilot Chrono, 41 with an in-house movement. I love the new IWC pilots, but I also love pilots. I just wish, or I feel like IWC right now is almost exactly the same as it was 10 years ago, except for the movement changes. I feel like they need a little bit more evolution or a little bit something to breathe some life back in.
And I think that because
it's still a great value brand. It's a great watch.
IWC makes a really, really good, solid mid-grade watch. But the problem is, like I've said with a lot of brands, is they make too much stuff. They really need to scale back their product line and just nail everything they make. I think they should focus on a lot of like the 44 millimeter chronograph for the Pilot stuff. I know the Big Pilot is the Big Pilot,
right?
But those watches, they can get a little crazy.
They can. I used to love their Pilot, the split chrono. I used to always wanted that watch, and then they discontinued it. I never got to
The one thing I will say to their credit is they didn't petit prince everything.
That's true.
Because they definitely could have gone that way.
They could have gone that way, and I thought they were going to for a while.
So
because like every blue one was selling in a minute. So they didn't go down that road where they did the same to everything. But the new movements, and again, value proposition is like $200 more with an in-house movement. It's crazy.
Right.
So the value, I think, was great.
Definitely another brand that I would say, if you can, buy it pre-owned. All right, let's see here. Jason, you mentioned a few episodes back that CB dials, that the old CB dial was better. I don't think I said it was better. They're different. So there's the older generation CB dials and the newer generation. So the major difference was production and figuring out how to produce the dials in the capacity that they needed with new production cycles. And there was a learning curve there. The process just changed. They're not the same. They are close. They're very, very close. But there's a slight difference in the shimmer between the dials.
One's a little more mirrory.
Yeah,
I don't think that's even a word, but
one is a little bit more milky, and the other one's a little bit more, reflective. They are, a fraction away.
Right.
But so I personally don't think one is better than the other. They're just simply an earlier one and a newer one. So, but. I guess the purists would say that the first one is the first one. There can always be one first.
Right.
But
and that's certainly with Jordan, that's the way it's going.
Listen, if I could get a 19 CB for retail, I would buy one right now.
You and a lot of other people.
Really?
I think
no wonder it's so hard to get. What do I know? I just started doing this. All right, let's see here. Why are all models like the Rolex GMT Master 2 twice the price on the gray market, but models like the Skydweller are only a few thousand over retail? The Skydweller is Rolex most complicated movement. So
it's a great question.
So yes, the Skydweller is their most complicated movement. The difference between it's a good question. There's a multi-part.
It's a good question.
There's a lot of pieces
answer.
To this. Yeah. So here's my take on this. If something is more accessible to more people, right? The retail is lower, then there's going to be more demand for that piece.
True, no question.
So that hurts things. If I'm trying to sell a watch that retails for $9,000, there's going to be a lot more people that want a $9,000 watch, thus making the demand higher for that piece. And when the production is the same, or maybe the same as the Skydweller, but the retail is double on the Skydweller, there's a lot less people that are going to pay double for that watch. So
possible. The thing I've never been understand is, first of all, the Skydweller, they completely underpriced at $14,400. I mean, it's crazy cheap.
The pricing on that watch was set prior to this market expansion.
Right, but even so, I mean, it's super cheap for an annual, basically, calendar.
You're right.
It's, everything about it. And then the blue dials trade well into the 20s, heading towards the mid-20s now. And the black dial, you can get it just a few grand over retail.
Right.
And again, that black dial one, I think, is just pops. So I love that watch.
Quick analogy of what I'm trying to discuss. So you have, a black Corvette, right?
Right.
Or you have a black Bugatti.
Right.
Who's going to want... You're going to have a much larger population of people trying to buy the Corvette at a much more obtainable price point, even though it's over retail, than you will with someone that's dropping $1 million on a Bugatti.
Yeah.
So
I think it's also
demand,
got to do with the look, too. I think the Sky Dweller is a little less sporty. It's a little dressier. It's a little more towards a Datejust.
I think the look aspect of it comes more into play at retail. Because then you're talking function and aesthetic.
But at the end of the day, the GMT's trading basically at the same kind of numbers.
Right.
So
but
it's
the GMT
not
is a much more obtainable watch.
It is.
So bang for the buck, you're doubling retail because there's much more population out there that wants that watch. It's just supply and demand. It's simple supply and demand. But it is a good question.
It's a great question.
That's actually honestly a topic for a show. You could probably
do a whole show on values on sport watches, but I do love that black Sky. I would wear that.
Skydweller, hands down. I think for the money, I'd put the $6,000 in the bank account and keep the black one over the blue one.
Yeah, me too. But, I mean, the blue one's nice too, and I love blue.
Nice.
I'm a blue guy. I love blue, but that black.
A really, really pretty Datejust 41 in blue with a fluted bezel and a Jubilee, and call it a day. You could have both.
I'm not a Jubilee guy. I mean,
but you could have.
I don't understand why Batgirls.
But if you want a really nice
hot.
blue dress watch, like you could have a black Skydweller and you could have a Jubilee Datejust 41 for the same price as a blue, or almost.
I really wonder in 2 or 3 years how the Jubilees are going to hold up. Because I really feel like they're going crazy right now, no question about it.
But they're definitely more solid than the old ones.
They're much more. I'm not just hold up wise. I mean hold up value wise.
Value-wise,
because it's like 9 out of 10 guys I ask prefer the Oysters bracelets in general.
Right.
It's just that it's the newest, latest, greatest, so everybody's chasing the Jubilees. But I think eventually, the Batman is going to outperform.
Yeah. What's funny is that the Batgirl
I hate the
name. It's whatever. I know guys that have the watch and either have grown to love the name or don't care, or it's more like a middle finger because you want it, you can't have it, so you're calling it a bad name. I mean the name derived from it's the prettier, the dressier Batman. Right. So, but anyhow, whatever you want to call it, they launched, they skyrocketed, they came down a little bit. I do think that they're going to go back up. But what's interesting is like the Oysters are right there.
Right there.
And they made that watch for 5 years.
Yep.
And right now we're talking about them holding the same water. And I like the Oysters better too. I think that Jubilee should have had a better clasp than that big brick clasp in the back of the Jubilee.
That's a pet peeve of mine as well, but I just never liked the style of Jubilee bracelets in general. I mean, it's just too pretty for me. I'm not a pretty guy.
I guess. I get your point. I'm there with you on the Oyster. I think that when, and I'm not saying if, but when Rolex releases a Coke ceramic and they put it on an Oyster, it's going to be gangbusters.
I would agree.
I mean, instantly probably a $30,000 watch. It's going to be nuts.
It'll be nuts. It will happen. They have to do it.
Yeah. I would hope,
maybe next year.
I would think.
You don't know?
Yeah, so you'll get the new movement. They'll probably tweak some things. I would imagine you get a new Oyster with some, maybe some cool little hidden new technology updates. But that's a whole nother show. But that would be a cool watch. All right. I don't know. You see any more questions in here that are worth chatting about?
Scroll through one more time.
Cartier Santos is a cool vacation watch. Yeah, I mean the versatility in between changing the straps.
Straps is nice, yeah. But, it's a little dressy for me for vacation.
Unlike my friend Josh with Thanos, I don't know that I would label that watch a cool watch.
He actually
shout out to Josh.
Loved that. Josh loved that watch, and it actually looked good on him.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could pull it off. And I do like the new blue dial.
The blue one's cool. The chronos are actually pretty nice.
Yes. But Thanos did rock that watch.
All right. I'm not seeing any crazy questions in here. how often you guys come across super high-end Mad watches like Jacob and Co. Rebellion? Not too often, I would say. I mean, we come across them in the sense that we get to see them and we get to see customers that have them. We don't really deal in a lot of like the super high-end stuff.
The crazy. I mean, we will do with Grubel or
so
some of that stuff.
That's I would put Grubel on a completely different level because
Right.
that's like super master watchmaking. Stuff like that usually can be a decent value prop because what they are retail versus pre-owned, but it's very volatile. So
I mean, that's not a market I chase or
dealers
know well,
have to be careful with that kind of stuff because that can really break
fast.
you. Yeah. A lot of love for Ball in the chat. Looks like.
Ball's and the Bell and Ross question too. I always love Bell and Ross at that price range. I was actually looking for I used to have a BR01 orange.
Okay.
The limited edition one, and I loved that.
I had for about a year. I had an 03 92, so the 43 millimeter,
right.
but it was the Phantom, the all
blacked
one.
out. That was great.
And it was cool, but like for 3 months, and then it drove
that was me
crazy.
with the orange. Yeah, but big square watches are hard too.
But I mean, call me crazy. I just want to be able to see the time on the watch.
All right, that's
I mean,
novel.
Anything past like 2.
You can go to the bathroom
2
and shut the door, and you can.
Well, no, anything past like 2 p.m. in sunny South Florida, you just couldn't read the watch. It was like, but I did like wearing it. It was cool. I do like Bell & Ross. They make a good watch for the money.
Yeah, no, actually.
All right. I think we're going to wrap this up. What do you think?
Yeah,
I mean, you're headed straight to the airport. You're going to vacation.
I am heading for vacation, yes.
All right.
Heading to the beach.
I want to thank you for doing the show because it would have been really easy to leave the office early and go straight to vacation.
No. Every time you ask me, I'll try to say if I'm in town, I love doing this.
All right. Cool.
It's great fun.
Well, guys, I want to say thank you for logging in on a Thursday. If you're watching this on Thursday, happy Thursday. If not,
happy Thursday.
Hope your Friday's going well.
And hope you have a great vacation.
We are at 87,000 subscribers.
Impressive.
We're going to hit 90 soon if you guys keep doing what you're doing. And we'll call that a show, I think. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
It was a good one.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Go on vacation.